Nah, I got some of you going, you're lazy, actually being serious. No, this is a step-by-step sketching here. I'm just going to go very lightly so, trace a nice little line. And then over here on the left corner of this bottom line, we're going to do the exact same thing, going up and very lightly so, tracing this line right there. The exact same thing here on our left. Right there. Now, question for you all, and I want you to all be honest with me. Who's confident to do a circle? Raise those hands. Okay, so 20 kids and 5 adults. Great. Should I be worried for the rest of you who hasn't risen your hand? Okay, well, believe it or not, every single one of you here today in this classroom are capable of doing shapes, especially circles. It's just one of those common things we do in our everyday lives. You just didn't notice it until today. So in order to rediscover that little hidden talent, you have to do a muscle memory trick. So if you pretend and follow through with me, let's pretend let's stir like a pot of soup, right? Or some mac and cheese and going around and around and around. That motion you're doing right now, that's a circle. That's all you need to do. All you needed was the pencil. But like I said, we have to go very soft, very light, because there's no erasers. So inside of each box, you're just going to start doing a circle, depending on the size of both boxes on each side. So I'm going to start from my right, very soft, very light, using my whole arm and whole shoulder, and then go round, round, and round. Very light, very sketchy. We're going to do the exact same thing over here on our left. And round and round and round. Now, like I said, this is a sketching class, not the perfect blank class, not even the finishing product class. When we use shapes, it's always going to come out a little sketchy at first before we start tracing that hard line. So what we're going to do before we do that shape, we're going to ask our cheeks to cool, because whenever we smile, sometimes our cheeks pushes against our eyes and does this effect. For some people, it's more noticeable than others, so we're going to do the exact same thing for our pig. So, right over here, on my right, I'm just going to do a nice little hill going up and digging towards the center. And I'm going to do the exact same thing here on my left side. Right there. And then once you added those cheeks, you just start tracing that shape of the circle. Now choose the line, whichever one you like the most, and then start forming that shape. Going all the way around. And then the top part of that circle, we're just going to make that one a little thick to make him look like he has eyelashes, because he's a mammal, and mammals have eyelashes. And we're going to do the exact same thing over here on our left side. Tracing it all the way around. Now the movie Moana was released back in 2016, and not only was one of the few movies referencing a lot of cultural things when it comes to like developing the movie, but the studio itself, they actually created a really interesting team called the Oceanic Story Trust, and it was composed of a lot of like cultural practitioners, anthropologists, historians, linguists, and even choreographers for like the dance sequence in the Moana movie. And they're all consisted from all of these people. They came from like the small islands of Samoa, Tahiti, and Fiji. And by doing their research, like visiting the South Pacific Islands, they discovered that by having a pig and a rooster, or even a chicken, actually brings good luck to the wayfinders, or the people that are navigating through those oceans on those voyages. So that's how Kua and Hege came to be. And now, once we're done with those eyes, we're going to add those pupils. That way he may look like he's awake. So we're just going to do a small circle inside right here, and go around and around and around. going to do the exact same thing here on the left side. Then once you start tracing that shape, I'm just going to add a little reflection of light. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Now in real life, the light bounces off our eyes and does that same effect. So I'm just going to add a little small circle inside our smaller circle. It's kind of like a little twinkle coming from the left side of that eye. And then you can just shake this in. Just see the whole people. Now, before I continue with the next step, I want you to all be honest with me after I ask you this question. Just by doing these 2 eyes, how many of you feeling stressed out?
No.
Okay, we got some hand raising, we got some people nodding, some people laughing. It's okay, I know. It may look a little hard, especially for people who are trying this for the first time, who have drawn before, but then started drawing again lately. So yeah. For right now, because we're going to start working with the simplest part of the sketch, which is the snout, the nose right here in the middle. So if you go towards the middle, small line up here, I'm just going to do a nice curvy letter V or letter U. And then on each end of this bottom line, I'm just going to do 2 curvy lines going towards the side. Like so. Now, Moana is based on a Kuni Kuni pig. If you don't know what a Kuni Kuni pig is or it looks like, we actually have one of our Kuni Kuni pigs at the affection section, which is the little petting zoo right behind me. So if you want to meet Dottie Bell, that's her name. She's an adult pig now, but you know, who was based on a piglet. But it can give you a little bit of a reference how Pua would end up once he becomes an adult. So yeah, she's really cute, really nice. I recommend checking her out. So yeah, once you've done those two curvy lines in that little middle part of the snout, we're just gonna do a little bit of a hill right up here. And then connect it towards that curvy line on the side. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing over here on the left. Like so. And then at that bottom line of the snout, we're just going to do 2 curvy lines. One like this. And then I'm just going to add another one right next to it, connecting towards the other side. And then to finish off working with the snout, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a middle line right here, very curvy middle line, to give it some depth. And then some nostril, because that way he can breathe. So they look like sea-looking nostrils. And you can shade that in. Now, pigs in general, they have a really strong sense of smell. And when it comes to like identifying what they're smelling, but also to help them find like food. Like, especially for a lot of pigs, like our warthogs, which is a type of pig that Pumbaa is based off, they have that big snout, very long in the shape of a shovel. And what they do is they use their snout in order to dig out those bugs they like to eat all the time. Or even like to dig out the mud, sorry, words are hard, to dig out the mud and then put it on their backs to keep them nice and cool. But then there's other pigs like our Kuni Kuni pigs or even a regular farm pig that their snout is so tucked into their faces, they can't dig their food with their snout. So then what they usually do, they usually try to find whatever they can see on the ground. So they can go for grass, fruits, vegetables, flies, anything they can find. Then what I'm gonna do is just gonna add some wrinkles on top of that snout right here. Very cute, isn't it? And then since he has his cheeks in a smiling position, we're just gonna start working on his smile. So following those same curves we did under the snout, we're just gonna take it up. And then add that dimple following the same curve of the cheek. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing over here on the left. Right there. I'm just going to take a little back, right there. Now you got a couple of options. If you want to keep his mouth closed, you can add a little line for the bottom left lip. Or if you want to have his mouth open, just follow through with me. This is going to be a nice curly letter V right here. And then take it towards the other side right there. And since his mouth is open, we're just going to start adding his tongue. So it's going to be like two little curvy hills. And then just shade the inside of the mouth. Now, like I mentioned earlier, when they did their research, they found out that pigs and roosters or chicken brings luck for those like wayfinders on their voyages. But it makes you wonder, if that were true, why wasn't Pooh in the first movie of Moana? Right? It makes you question that. Why wasn't he in the first movie, but he was in the second one? Well, the studio wanted the main character to struggle. And what I mean by that, they wanted her to go through this journey, to learn and become the wayfinder that we all know and love now. And she couldn't do that by having Pooh on the boat, because Pooh was technically like her emotional support animal, if you think about it. So they decided to find a way to not have Pooh on the boat. But then you're like, well, if they did that for Pooh, how come, hey, he was in the movie? Well, if you remember the Moana movie, you can understand that they found a way to keep Hey in there, because for Moana's journey, Pooh was not useful enough to the point that like he was a little bit dumb to the point that he can eat a whole rock. You know? Some of you are like, yeah. But originally, hey, he was going to be a strong, brave rooster. But they just decided to scrap that idea due to the fact that they didn't want it to get rid of both mascots. So, yeah, that's how it all happened. Now, we're practically got most of his face, but we're going to add something that Pooh has, but Cootie pigs don't in real life. Eyebrows. Yes, I'm real like, eyebrows. I'll let you know in a minute. So, what he's doing when he's expressing himself, he's doing the same smolder that The Rock or Maui is doing. I can't do it myself, so I have to do it like that to show you how it goes. So, on his right eyebrow, we're just going to do like, kind of like a lightning bolt or very fuzzy eyebrow right here. And on the one on the left, a little bit more curvy, right there. And if you remember how Pooh looks like, he has a little spot right here on his left eye. So right around the eye on the one of the cheek, we're just going to do that spot right there connecting towards the brow. And then you can just shade this in. And now what we're going to do, we're going to start working with the rest of his head. Well, like I said, he has a mohawk on the top of his hair, so you can just do this. Or if you want to add something different, you can as well. Like I said, you can add them after. Be creative, you can basically add the same hairstyle you have on your pig. And then we're just going to start tracing around the shape. And once you reach towards those cheeks, we're just going to add some flips of hair on the side. And then just keep following that line and take it all the way towards the bottom. And then we're going to do the exact same thing over here on the left side. Now, during the late 70s, the population of our coon pigs was decreasing by a lot, to the point that there was only like 50. And these people, they started a breeding program and collected about 18 in order to like breed this type of pig. That way they don't end up at the brink of extinction. And so nowadays, especially in New Zealand, there's over, words are so hard, I'm sorry, it's been one day. Especially in New Zealand, there's over 5,000 kuni pigs. But kuni pigs are so cute and so adorable that, and not only since they're domestic pigs, a lot of people started adopting them around the world. There's like a lot of them all over the place. But I do say this though, if you're considering adopting a pig or a queen pig in particular, obviously do your research and check what you can do and how to properly take care of this animal, because you know, he's a domestic animal, but you know, compared to a dog and a cat, there's still like a couple of things that might be a little bit difficult to handle, or like, but yeah, like I said, if you're considering, I'll say just do those things, check what you can do to help take care of this animal and to help yourself as well. Now, he is a pig. What do you think our little pig is missing right now? Ears, that's right. So what we're gonna do, his ears are basically like big, like Hershey's Kiss chocolates, right about here, if you think about it. So from these letter L's right here, right at the tip, we're just gonna do nice, curvy letter V, or letter U's. And then not too close towards the head, a little bit right there above that eyebrow on the right. You're gonna do a nice little curve going up. And then connect it towards that letter L right there. And then we're just gonna take it down and then take it towards the cheek on this side. There we go. Then we're gonna do the inside of his ear. So it's gonna be right about here. And then curve it right there. And since he's a mammal, he also has these ear furnishings. Ear furnishings is like hair inside the ear. A lot of mammals have it just to help them prevent the dust, dirt, or even bugs to get inside their ears. But I don't know, your grandpa might have some ear furnishings. I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just stating an observation, okay guys? So we're gonna do the exact same thing we did over here on our left side as well. Now, the queen pigs, they have these really big, large, pointy, floppy ears to the point that they flop at the top. But pigs in general, once they're born, their sense of hearing is so good that they can actually identify their mom's squeal since they're born. Yeah, which is really cute. It's kind of like you identifying your mom's voice from a big, large crowd and be like, oh, yeah, that's my mom all the way over the other one. Yeah. And then just add those extra details inside the ear if you want. You can add as many flips of fur right here. Then, of course, he has a couple of extra spots. So he has one spot here on his forehead right there. Then you can shade this in. And then he has another one right about here on his left ear. And then once you want to add more details to your pig, if you want to, I don't know if you realize, but we just dropped Pua. So give yourselves a round of applause, you did! Congratulations, my honorary Disney artist, good job. Raise those hands for any first timers in my class, raise those hands. Wow, almost everyone. Well, congratulations, my honorary Disney artist, you did it. You just dropped Pua. So what we're gonna do right now, since we're honorary Disney artists, we're gonna sign our work. Put your name on it right here, put that nice little signature. And then once you're done with that, we put today's dates in case we do come back for another class or another sketching class, because we have more characters throughout the day. It's not the Pua experience. You can come by and see how well you improve. So today is May 7th, 2025. The next class is gonna be Bambi. So if you want to come around and draw Bambi, you swing by. Thank you all for coming. I do appreciate you all for your time. Your sketches are yours to keep. You can take it home, post it on social media, put it in the fridge, give it to a friend, go crazy, go nuts. But if you don't want those sketches and if you don't want those pencils, that's okay. Just don't toss it on the floor. There's a recycling basket or a recycling bin right here on the exit. The basket is for those pencils of yours and the bin is for those papers. And before you leave, please put those blackboards nice and neatly back where you found them on every single one of those chairs. Thank you.